So keep on talking till I can't go on. Why you see it your way? Run the risk of knowing that our love may soon be gone. We can work it out. We can work it out. Think of what I said.
The world has become tyrannical.
You want more of your people to die?
Deceptive. Dystopian. Fraudulent. Factual. Truthful. Direct knowledge. Has been taken away from the masses for the purposes of control. But enough is enough, dear friends.
We will not comply!
Now is the time to take what is rightfully ours. Welcome to the Syncretism Society Virtual Academy.
Welcome to the Syncretism Society
Virtual Academy.
Within the Academy, we have great minds to collectively bring our alumni a staggering range of knowledge.
Based off decade after decade of quantifiable research.
Spanning from sound medicine,
Yoga Science, Indian Spirituality,
Medical astrology,
Wisdom to sovereignty.
holistic health,
Esoteric sciences,
astrotheology.
Acquiring these truths, dear friends,
will drive your empowerment and ability.
For proper ascension.
Take back your sovereignty. Take back your knowledge.
Take back your freedom. Join us at the Syncretism Society Virtual Academy.
Hello, and welcome, good friends, to the Syncretism Society live debate on Mr. Astrotheology's YouTube channel. Ooh, it's going to be hot today. It's going to be hot. And as you guys can see, it's just me. And this is the first time, as you all know, Santos is taking his much-needed rest, and he has requested that I go on by myself and moderate the debate. I know everybody's super excited for this one. It's going to be really hot. Heliocentric versus geocentric model. I know everyone wants to get to the bottom of it, even though most of our viewers are horizontal, stationary flat earthers. There's going to be some here that just don't believe in it, and we're going to, I think, get some of that information out there for them to do their own due diligence on it. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. We have two very special guests. as you all know already, Amar from Amarvelous is going to be coming on in just a minute. He is obviously a Globie. He is going to be telling everyone why we live on a globe that's spinning through space at 650 million miles per hour. And let's see if he could prove it. And obviously, we have our other very, very special guest. He is an instructor in the Syncretism Society Virtual Academy. He is one of the greatest flat Earth activists that there is. Please, everybody, welcome our two guests, David Weiss and Amar. Round of applause. All right. Do we have you guys up yet? I don't see anybody. Okay. I can't even hear anybody. But David, if you guys hear me, here we go. You guys are up? David, Amar, how we doing? How's everything going, gentlemen?
Doing good.
All right.
Ready to have a discussion.
Okay, let's do it. Yes, it's more of a discussion than a debate. Amar, can you hear us, buddy?
Yeah, I'm here. It's good to be here with y'all.
All right, my man. Thank you for coming and joining in.
Definitely.
Yeah, I spoke to you guys a little before we came on, and you know, this is just going to be a lot of fun. Obviously, we're going to keep it super informative. We're going to be spitting a lot of truth, and people are going to be coming to their own decisions on where we live, if this is a flat plane or if it's a globe. You guys, you know, hear them out, hear their arguments out, hear the discussions out, and come to your own conclusions. We could only bring you to water. You have to drink from it, right?
Hey, quick question, Daniel. Can you hear me? My motion is very stuttered. Can you hear me okay?
I hear you just fine. Your motion is a little stuttered, though.
My internet speed's fast. I'm not sure what's going on.
Can it be a Zoom thing?
It could be. Can I jump out and come back in?
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. Let's do that.
All right, you guys.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you pretty good.
I'm gonna jump out.
Yeah, go ahead. Jump out. So, Amar, while he does that, just quickly, just a little bit about your background. Many know David because he's come on our show many times. We obviously haven't had you yet. How did you get into these discussions in the first place, buddy?
This was a few years ago, and one of my good friends from college, he was adamant that the Earth was flat. So, you know, for about a good month, me, him, and another one of our friends was just on the chat, and we were going back and forth on why it was flat. So some of the arguments, I was like, okay, this is pretty logical. So from that point, I said, all right, let me devote some time to this and see objectively what it was. So ever since then, I've kind of been off and on getting into debates and discussions just to sincerely see what it was, because it keeps popping up. So it was really my close friend that got me into it.
Nice. Okay, good. And at no point in time did you ever go, I think they must have got something over here. Maybe let me jump into it and look a little further. How far in did you look before you said, no, it can't be flat?
Well, I think that they always have good points. I think the discrepancy is that a lot of people that say globe or round, they don't really, some of them might not be honest, and they don't present a good picture. And a lot of the questions that people that subscribe to Flat Earth do, because it's so logical, it's not even a point of they don't make sense, because they do make sense. It's more of a point of the conversation itself and standards. And because there's a lack of standards in these discussions, it never gets resolved. But I think Flat Earthers do make sense. But it's just the methodology that I think is off.
Give me an example.
So if we're going to talk about observation, right, and we're going to give examples about what we see, then
recording stopped.
That's from a subjective standpoint, right? So even if someone says, well, this is something that is factual from where they're at, it has to be applied to something that everybody at a given time that exists on this planet is able to observe, not necessarily observe from the geography that they're at. An example of that is an apple, right? If we're going to go off the standard of observation, an apple, when I cut it open, is going to have 5 parts, like a pentagram. That is something that is throughout nature that could be observed no matter where I'm at geographically. So if we're going to have the standard of observation, it has to be a uniform, agreed upon standard that both parties can agree on. This way, when it gets out of control, like these discussions do, we can go back to that standard and then start from scratch. And I think that's always missing in these discussions.
I see. All right. So we're going to get more into that in just a second. We're just going to wait for David to get on. Like I said, I'm not going to be in the middle of this at all. All right. It's just going to be you two gentlemen. Ricardo, give them much more real estate. Expand them, please. Nobody wants to see me, but this is the only way we could really do it. David, are you there, buddy?
I am.
Okay. So we can't really see you yet unless it's lagging. You seeing him? Okay.
I'm good. And everything's working well now.
All right, perfect. We're just going to expand you guys a little bit. See, the thing is that from the engineer to me, it takes about 30 seconds for me to see what's going on. So if he's making you guys bigger, I don't know until 30 seconds pass by. Okay, here we go. Now I see you guys. And you've expanded them, right, Ricardo? So we can begin. Guys, this is basically the way this is going to go. Even though this is not a debate, I still want to bring up arguments from both sides. We will be going into discussion, and we will absolutely will be taking calls afterwards. So, guys, you'll be able to chime in there back at home and really get to ask David and Amar some questions. Make sure that they're even, okay, Ricardo? So
make me a little bigger.
All right, you got it. Make David all right, look, we'll do it like this. Whoever gets more advantage through the course of this discussion, we'll make him bigger as we go. But gentlemen, what we're going to do is we're going to start out with literally 8 minutes on each side, right? You're going to just start your arguments. We're going to have a clock. No interrupting each other, obviously. We're going to start out with Amar, and then we're going to move to David. And then after these two 8-minute introduction arguments, you will then get into discussion in reasonable terms. So, Amar, you go ahead and kick it off, my brother.
Okay, great. Thanks again, Dave. Dan, good to see y'all. All right, so let me just clarify my position so we could be clear. I'm saying that the total shape of the planet Earth resembles either a sphere, egg, or something oval, more so than it does something flat, in whichever definition a person that subscribes to flat Earth would say is flat. So that is my position. Once again, it's either a shape is spherical, egg shape, or oval, or anything resembling that. And everything I'm going to present is going to back what I'm saying, just to support my view of this. Because a lot of times when we talk and have these discussions, sometimes from my experience, flat earthers will say, well, I don't know the shape. I just know it's not a spinning ball. So my position was never a spinning ball, as they say. It was that it was more egg shape or oval shape. Not necessarily what we've been told 100%, but more so that size and shape than it being a flat disc or something flat. I'm not talking about the surface. I'm talking about the entirety of what we would consider as planet Earth. So I have from A to Z, I kind of did it with the alphabet, 26 points. I probably won't get to all of them tonight, but I'm going to start with my first one. And that's flat earthers themselves don't really believe that the Earth is flat. They don't commit to a shape, yet say as if they do commit to a shape of flat. And here's my example. This is from The Guardian. This was May 2018. It says the universe is an egg and the moon isn't real. Now, I'm using this to show that flat earthers themselves have subscribed to a similar view of this being an egg shape, not flat. And it reads like this. There was the 3-hour presentation which contended that the universe is a giant egg. There was the Manchester musician who posited that the Earth is the shape of a diamond, and another who believes that the moon is a projection. That unshakable belief is one of the few points of total agreement for 200-strong audience at this week's gathering. There was less consensus, however, on what form the Earth actually takes. Some believe it to be a disk with the Arctic Circle in the middle, Some believe that circle is under a dome, above which there may or may not be an expanse of water. Others believe the Earth is just one in a series of ponds in a vast expanse of ice, and others still believe the Earth exists beneath 4 cosmic rings within a giant egg-shaped universe. Now, the purpose of me reading that is to show that even amongst flat earthers, when we say flat, they don't believe it's flat. Some of them actually believe that it's egg-shaped. So I wanted to lay that down just to show that in my position, it's going to be consistent. It's not going to change unless there's some clear evidence to show. So that's egg-shaped, spherical, or oval, more so than anything that would be considered flat. So I wanted to lay that premise down. Second, I wanted to go into my second point to show, because of this phenomena that we have in the Earth, that the planet could not be flat disk or flat Earth based on something called the quadruple anomaly microwave radiation. Now, when I read this, I'm also going to put the whole NASA thing to bed, because in my experience with these discussions in flat earthers is that they say there's a NASA agenda. I won't use the word conspiracy, a NASA agenda to push a spinning ball, right? So what I'm about to read is clear evidence that NASA has pushed something other than that. So when you hear flat earthers say NASA's pushing an agenda of a spinning ball, I want to put that to bed, because I want to go one by one with the whole flat earth position to show that it's contradictory and to lay my point down exactly. And you could look up all of the sources that I read so you could see where I'm coming from. This one right here, and I want to stress this one because the rise of flat earth has resurged, I want to say maybe within the last 10 years, some point in that time. It's been around for centuries, but it's come back within our purview within the last 10 years. And you could see that with YouTube. You barely see any videos about flat earth older than maybe 3 to 5. There might be a few. So when people say, well, this is NASA redirecting them being proven wrong, I want to dispel that too, because this article is 2006. So anyone that says that would have to demonstrate this is NASA spinning the truth because of the flat earth rise. This is 2006, September 30th. Universe might be more egg-shaped than spherical. I want to drill this egg-shaped thing in to hone in my position with facts and evidence. Round may be the preferred shape of baseballs, bubbles, and Cocoa Puffs. The universe, however, may favor the ellipsoid. Italian scientists using data gathered by NASA's WMAP. I'm going to read this again because I want to put the whole NASA conspiracy thing to bed, because these scientists use NASA's data. And this isn't pushing a spinning ball. This is pushing something else. Italian scientists using data gathered by NASA's WMAP probe say evidence points to the universe having a shape somewhat akin to an egg, rather than the expected round kernel of puff cereal. This, say the authors of a paper, and I have this paper, we can go through it too, published this week in the scientific journal Physical Review Letters, would explain some curious anomalies over the heavens expanse. WMAP, the Wilkinson Microwave Anisotropy Probe, was launched in 2001 to measure fluctuations in the cosmic microwave background radiation. Looking at small chunks of the sky, the measurements agreed with the conventional spherical model of the observable universe. But when the data were measured on the larger scale, taking in the entire night sky, for instance, the radiation was too low, physicists say. These anomalies may signal what Leonardo Campanelli of the University of Ferrara in Italy termed a non-trivial cosmic topology that is different from the sphere. Campanelli and his colleagues found that the radiation discrepancies disappeared if the universe was shaped like an ellipsoid with an eccentricity of about 1%. That's not much, but it has, and I'm almost done with this, has some cosmologists scratching their head. Generally, inflation would predict a spherical universe, said astrophysicist Gary Hinshaw, led data analysis for WMAP. Hinshaw said he was impressed by the research, but not necessarily convinced the authors had found something real.
1 minute.
I'm gonna wind this down with this. There's a 10% chance the results found by the probe would occur even if the universe is spherical. Over the years, cosmologists have proposed other shapes for the universe, including a donut and a saddle shape, said UCLA physicist Professor Edward Wright. One theory is that the universe may really be quite small, and its apparent hugeness may result from a phenomenon like gazing into mirrors on opposite walls. The image goes on forever, but the walls remain fixed. So that conclusion was based on NASA's technology, which is not from a spinning ball, which contradicts the whole NASA thing, because this is an alternative view which fixed the egg shape. And throughout my presentation, I'm going to show from a variety of sciences and other things, the egg-shaped spherical or oval model over flat disk. And I'm going to use science, mythology, and other sources to do so.
Time.
And I'll wind it down.
Thank you very much. Thank you. David, 8 minutes?
8 minutes.
And then we'll get off with the back and forth. No problem.
I'm going to be pretty short here. You talk about the Earth appears to be spherical. I don't care what other people claim. It's testably, measurably flat. If the Earth is egg-shaped or oval, there would have to be physical curvature, and we can demonstrate that there is none. You talk about NASA said this, NASA said that, NASA launched this, NASA launched that. People are quoting NASA. Throw it all out. NASA is just full of lies. They get, they're $63 million. Excuse me, $63 million a day that supposedly goes to NASA. They should be able to do something, but they do nothing. And we can show, I will show that NASA never puts anybody into fake space. And so all of those claims of that you're claiming are, just not valid. And then you said the reemergence of flat Earth a few years ago. Flat Earth has always been here. I interviewed Ruth, who said in the 1920s she was taught flat Earth in public schools here in Connecticut. And there's evidence that they were teaching flat Earth and globe Earth all the way up into the late 50s and early 60s. And then they removed that from the curriculum, and it literally Mandela'd right out of the book. So that's it. That's all I need, and we can go from there.
Okay. All right. Wonderful. Well, since you cut yours really short, is there anything maybe you want to start with, just to show? I know you always have a lot of things you could show on your green screen. Maybe you want to take it away?
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a million places I can take it. For example, NASA was started by Werner von Braun, a Nazi scientist that was brought over here to run NASA. That's interesting. Werner wrote a book called Project Mars in the 1950s about a bunch of people going to Mars, run by a guy named Elon. Here's Elon's rocket. Kind of looks a lot the same. So that tells you something else is going on there. Werner's grave had the Psalms 19:1 talking about the firmament on it. Why would that be happening? Where's the thing? If you watch any of NASA's launches, all they're doing is high-fiving each other. The launches themselves are absolutely fake, provably fake. If I can pull up one here. Here is, and I show this one often, but I'm going to show it again because this is what you have to believe is real. This is provably, absolutely 100% fake. Nobody's going into space, right? This grain silo is supposedly rocketing up from this little flame, is lifting millions of pounds. Okay, not happening. It's just an edited movie. So saying that NASA says the Earth is egg shaped, well, I would say the opposite is true. It's not egg shaped, and just like if it's egg shaped, oval, whatever, there would have to be curvature. We can see too far. The radius that they tell us is wrong. And now the other thing is you're arguing that it's not a globe, so you're arguing against the heliocentric model, right? Because we can't have a spinning egg. I don't think we can. Maybe you could explain how that would work, and it makes no sense to have a spherical, egg shape, whatever you want to call it, oval. You would have to have a physical horizon. The horizon is provably optical. The biggest globe trolls admit that on their globe Earth there is no physical horizon. So you would have to have a physical horizon, and we don't. We can see things that would require a radius of over 270,000 miles. Okay. And anyone that believes this is real is just is just not being honest with themselves.
It looks like it's floating. It looks like a balloon just floating down.
It's just absolutely ridiculous. And then, it's literally a grain silo going into space. And then NASA, all of their rockets, they go right out and they go right into the ocean because they can't go up. Now, when you see the dome, when flat earthers show you the big high dome, I don't think any of us believe that's the way it is, because the dome, if there is a dome, and again, we don't know anything that we can't reach or beyond the shoreline of Antarctica, like other lands out there, ponds, rings, whatever. That's all speculation. And everyone that talks about it is speculating. There is some evidence, and there are models that we can build it would show that these things are possible, but we don't know. So we're not using it as evidence. That it's fun to speculate. But, if the Earth has a dome over it, it's kind of pretty flat. It would be like a dinner plate rather than a salad bowl, an upside down dinner plate. That would be it. In a pressurized system, air pressure requires a container. Okay. The second law of thermodynamics says you can't have high pressure next to lower pressure or no pressure without a container. And the idea of, gravity holding it down and a gradient. Yeah, gases do gradiate out, but you have to have pressure you have to have a container to have pressure. Rather than me go on and on, I'd love to hear your best proof of a spherical world.
Amar, you with us?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm not sure if my mic is on.
Yeah, you're on, buddy. We hear you loud and clear.
Great. Before I answer that, I just want to be clear. I'm not subscribing from NASA. The reason why I brought the NASA thing up was to show that from the data, it's not just being pushed that it's a spinning ball. So I want that to be
what data? What data?
You can look it up right now as we speak.
But where's the data from? From NASA?
This is from, let me read you the scientists. Science. Go ahead. You want the name of the scientists or what they use?
Well, when you say scientists, all of our space information comes from NASA and Disney, to be honest. And none of it makes any sense. None of it is validated. Now, we can look at the light in the sky that we call Mars and say that it's a world almost the same size as our Earth. But the only thing we can honestly say is it's a light in the sky. That's all we can say. We can't say how far it is. We can't say what it is. We can't say, how big it is, right? But we can say, well, if I was on Mars, the sun would be smaller than it is on Earth, and they tell us Mars is a dusty, dirty ball. So how does that dusty, dirty ball reflect light back to Earth brighter than any other star in the sky? Mars is very bright when you see it, or even Jupiter, farther away, less sunlight, a gaseous planet, and it's reflecting light back, and it's brighter than any other star in the sky. The inverse square law of light proves that to be scientifically impossible, but Globers just want to believe that that's reflecting light like a friggin' mirror. It's not happening. It's not real.
Right. So let's go one by one with what you said. You asked me where they got the information from.
Yeah.
The sole reason why I mentioned that was to eliminate the flat earth argument that they're pushing a spinning ball. So that's no longer true, because I'm showing evidence that that's not what they're pushing.
Wait, I'm confused. Who's not pushing a spinning ball?
NASA. Isn't that what flat earthers believe? That NASA pushes the indoctrination? That's not said from flat earthers?
I don't know what other flat earthers say, or I don't know what every flat earther says, but NASA says that the Earth is spinning. They say that it's pear-shaped. Some of them say that you can't. It's slightly oblate, thicker in the south, but they say it's a spinning ball corkscrewing through space. That's what they claim.
Oblate spheroid.
Oblate spheroid corkscrewing, through an infinite universe. This is what they say is going on, that we're traveling 4.4 billion miles a year. We're going 66,000 miles an hour around the sun. We're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. We're chasing the sun at 500,000 miles per hour. And there's so many things wrong with that. But NASA does say the solar system is flat. So all of the planets are staying on a flat plane as they curve and spiral through the impossible space vacuum. None of this is even a possibility. And we have science that can prove this. We have, we can't measure the distance to a star, but NASA tells us, Polaris is 433 light years away. Well, we can prove by the size that they tell Polaris is that if it was 6 light hours away or 6 light days away, it would be way too small for the human eye to see, but we can see it. We can see it every night in the sky, and it's 433 light years away. 6 light days away, it would be provably scientifically impossible for your eye to resolve, right? So you might even be with me that NASA's lying. NASA's full of shit. NASA is here to deceive us, to make us believe that we're insignificant. Science, mainstream science, wants us to believe that we are in the middle of nothing. We're in the middle of an infinite universe, and we are insignificant, right? Even their best guys, I think it's Dawkins, said that every test that we do says that we're at the center, but we cannot admit that because it's a horrible position, and we have to do anything we can to avoid that opinion, even though every scientific experiment shows that.
Right. So I agree with you, but I just want to eliminate the NASA's pushing the spinning ball argument, so we can eliminate that. Second, go ahead.
Wait, what do you mean NASA's not pushing the spinning ball argument? They are pushing the spinning ball argument.
They're not. They're pushing a completely different shape.
What is it then?
What is NASA pushing?
If you can explain it to everybody, so David understands and the audience understands. What are they pushing exactly?
Well, I just showed you one alternative that they're pushing, that it's egg shape. So we can't keep saying that they're pushing a spinning ball.
All right, it's spinning. So are they pushing a spinning egg?
They're pushing a variety of shapes. I just read it. They gave 3 or 4 different options.
So
but it's not definitive, right?
But if somebody's saying, "Oh, it's an egg," it's this, it's that, it's flying through an impossible space vacuum, we can pretty much discount everything they say. So we got liars on the other side of flat Earth, the ball side, just killing their own argument by changing their mind all the time. I haven't heard this argument, but if it's true, then that makes NASA even worse than they are pushing the spinning ball.
Hey,
I just want to lay that down, but I have other sources to show the whole egg-shaped thing. So I just wanted to give that down as a foundation.
Amor,
I have my new course to read from when y'all finish.
Just a question to you, buddy. Just a question. Those pictures that we see, right? I'm not getting them. I just want to know what your answer would be on this, right? I'm not giving my opinion. The pictures that we see that NASA puts out of the perfectly spherical globe from outer space over and over and over again, multiple times for the past 40, 50, 60 years, right? Since the moon landing, you could say, right? What is that? What is that? Is that not what the real shape of the Earth is then?
I don't think it's a perfect sphere, no. I don't think that's the case. I think you're using that trying to keep it as a general, but I don't think it's the exact shape. Everything they came up with that globe or that shape that they're putting out that y'all are mentioning, that existed before NASA.
So, no, my question is that, or those pictures?
So it's not something that NASA came up with.
Are those pictures real or they're not real?
Mm-hmm. Okay, which pictures exactly?
How about any of these pictures? 9 pictures from NASA. Are they claiming some of them are real, some of them are not real? Neil deGrasse Tyson, when he said the Earth is an oblate spheroid, a little chubbier in the south, he said, even though it bulges 14 miles thick at the equator, thicker from space, you couldn't see that. It would be looking at a cue ball, and a cue ball is the Earth. If the Earth was reduced to the size of a cue ball, it would be smoother than a cue ball, even with Mount Everest and the trenches in the ocean, right? So he's saying from space, it would look perfectly spherical. Are you claiming that any of these are spherical? I mean, any of these are real images of Earth?
No, I can't claim that because I don't know where NASA got those from. And those don't look like actual pictures that I can see.
Okay, so
I can't say that those are real. I can't verify that.
What can we say then about them? That NASA is why is NASA showing this then? I'm just curious. Why are they proposing that this is the shape of the globe? Just a question. If it's not, and they've been in outer space and they have, yeah.
You're breaking up a little.
Oh,
It was coming in and out.
I think it's you that's breaking up. I can hear you clear, Daniel.
yeah.
Is he breaking up for you also?
maybe it's
Yeah,
me.
you're breaking up for everybody. Yeah.
Is this
Amar.
better?
Go ahead.
Yeah. My question
Can
is,
y'all hear me better now?
yeah, much better. My question is to you, real quick, Amar, is why are they showing us these images if these images are not real, instead of the real images like they did from didn't they show images of the globe when we had our moon landing in 1960s? Wasn't it?
I don't believe they landed.
No.
I don't believe they landed.
All right, that's another one for the deception column.
Okay. All right.
Well, let me get it clear. I think this government is full of trickery and deceit. I want to make that clear. I'm not like most so-called globe heads where they think that the government doesn't have an agenda. I think they have a complete agenda. But what I'm saying is this concept of the globe that y'all are showing, even with those pictures, let's say they're completely fabricated, that concept was something that existed for hundreds of years. So it's not something, if we're going to go on a deception route, I'm attempting to debunk that because that model, those pictures they resemble something similar that existed for hundreds of years. So if it was a current government conspiracy, that would be contradictory because the leading powers hundreds of years ago actually backed flat Earth. And if you were backing around Earth, you was a hair tech. So that's what I want to debunk first while we're going through this discussion, if that makes sense. So this concept is a NASA originated.
All right. So I heard you in your opening argument, you're saying flat earthers don't have an exact model. Absolutely true. Can you guys hear me? Did I just lose you?
No, you're fine.
Something happened to the sound. Hold on.
You're clear on my end.
It's on my side. So where's I going with that? You said so we're trying to figure it out, and I use the analogy like I don't know how the engine of my car works, but I'm able to drive it. So I know there's an engine in there, and I know that it pushes the car down the road. So what are you claiming the Earth is? You're claiming it's an egg shape in a vacuum of space, or are you claiming something else?
I'm claiming that beyond a reasonable doubt, the complete shape of the Earth leans more towards either a sphere, an egg, or something oval more than any kind of flat disc or anything that would be considered flat. 100%.
I think I got most of what you're saying. You're saying it's an egg, an oval, or something else, but
not flat. Anything but.
And how big is it?
Well, that's going to get into my later, what I wanted to present in terms of showing, because here's the problem with this discussion, right? And even some of the stuff that you presented is that we're going off of observation. So if we're going to talk about size, what tools and what methodology are we using to determine size? Because if you're giving me examples like
Amar, you're breaking up.
You're gone, Amar.
Hello.
Why he's coming back? If it's an egg,
Wait, did y'all hear me? Or
no, we did not.
Going in and out.
No, you went out for a while.
Okay, I'm gonna go out and then come back in.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, let's do that. It worked for David. Go ahead, David. You wanted to say something while he does that?
I mean, I'm just trying to figure out, if it's an egg, how big of an egg is it? Is it 100 times bigger than the globe? I mean, if he's like, it's an egg and I can't tell you how big it is, that's a horrible claim. We know the Earth is an extended plane. We know the approximate distance across the Earth. We know the equator is about 21 to 24,000 miles, just a circle halfway between the center and Antarctica.
Yeah, I think
I don't understand the egg thing. I mean, so gravity pulls you towards the center of an egg, so you'd be tilted in some areas. You're gonna be like this in some places. How does that work in his gravity, dude? I don't know, man.
Oh Lord,
I don't know. I would love any people in the chat to call in, maybe when that's ready.
Yeah, I'm sure the lines are just going to explode.
People are saying I need more real estate. Keep me on the left side. I don't see the screen that we're watching, so.
Yeah, they didn't notice. Every time that you want to show something or a video, we give you full screen.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. Right now we're just sharing screen while we're waiting for him to come back in. David, why don't you show some of your clips of how easily the mind could be tricked?
Oh, some optical illusion, some optics.
Yeah.
So here's one. Where is it? I just had a new one. Not that one. Street.
Well, all of them are really good.
Of course, I can't find it.
So
So
start with.
why I'm looking this is just the famous Skunk Bay footage. No tide. It's just filmed during a day. And if you watch over here, the beach disappears, the buildings disappear. It goes up and down. So take a picture at any time, and a globe will go, oh, it's over the curve, and it's all just optics. It's just complete and total optics. Right. So this is just during the day. It's not curvature. It's the way our eyes see. It's the way the atmosphere interacts with the apparent horizon. If we look at you've seen the water class. So when we're looking up in the sky, the optics of the sky are no way to prove the Earth, right? So if there is a curved, I believe, even if there's not a dome, we see in a curved atmospheric dome, we see a certain distance in all directions when the atmosphere becomes opaque, right? So when you're looking through it, this arrow just changed direction by looking through moisture. Well, there's moisture up there. We know that. There's, I believe that there's water in space.
I do too.
Yeah.
We got Amar. Is he jumping back in? Hope he didn't.
And here, take a look at this. If you can make this big, are those lines straight or curved?
Full screen them.
Yeah, full screen me. Are these lines straight or curved?
I got a 30-second delay, so
yeah. Oh, so you're not gonna see it right away.
Yeah.
This is our brain sees things in very different ways. So there's straight lines. There's no curved lines in this. It's a perfectly square grid, but you can't see it very easily.
Yes. Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, for sure, man. For sure. No, you could absolutely 100% understand why people just wouldn't get it,
Right.
It's clear, but as soon as you jump in and do your due diligence just a little bit, it's all right there for you. It's all right there. This is respective.
Yeah. So we have our atmospheric dome. I'm just like saying, and I'm holding a light above it. And people that saw this in person was amazing. It literally was a ball that looked just like the sun floating in free space inside this. And I'm just moving my iPhone light around over it. Okay. And it looked absolutely amazing. Add that in with atmosphere. And, when you're looking across the atmosphere becomes opaque. The sun is higher. So as it goes away, it sets below that atmospheric layer, which all gets merged into the horizon. That was the hardest thing for me to learn is how could the sun go behind the horizon? And it's because the sun is above that atmospheric layer. So all the atmosphere gets compressed, right? And the sun just goes behind that compression.
Sure. Yes.
And it disappears like that. And the reason we can zoom in and see a boat, because a boat is on the land in between that compression. You zoom in and you make it bigger and you can now see the boats. Right. But the sun is above the compression. If you were above it, you'd be able to see the sun.
For sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. It's all easily explainable. It's right there in front of your face. Amar, where are you, my man? What's going on? Huh? He's not there, man.
Want to take some calls?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's open up the lines. Oh, this one's gonna be fun.
Yeah. I don't understand. I mean, he's arguing. I don't even know what he's arguing.
No. This is his argument. You ready? His argument is this. that there's much more probability that the Earth is either spherical, oblate, or oval than it is flat, horizontal, and stationary.
Those three shapes require curvature.
Yes, he's
require
leaning,
curvature.
Of course.
And we have never seen curvature. We have, you know, if it's an egg, that curvature varies, right? If the surface of the Earth is an egg, that curvature varies over distance. So how does gravity work with an egg pulling you to the center? And that entire, is that Einsteinian gravity versus Newtonian gravity? I'm not sure.
And
he's back.
He is back, and he believes also that we obviously didn't go to the moon. So he's with us on one side, right? He believes that NASA has this, is deceiving people and has its own reasons. Amar, what's going on, buddy? Can you hear us?
Tell me if this is better.
Sounds good for now.
Sounds okay for now.
All right, I had to switch rooms. I don't know what's the last thing that y'all clearly heard.
God, just start wherever you want.
Yeah, all right. So what I was saying was, if you're gonna go off of observations, like your pictures and then what you said and what you're claiming, right? If we're gonna go off of observations, we have to have a general standard, not I observed it arbitrarily, right? If we're gonna mention calculations and measurements, we have to have a standard in which we can say, agree, okay, these are the tools that we're using, or this is the formula or standard of how we're calculating to come up with these measurements. Both sides have to agree on that standard. From that standard, then we can test and then observe. We can't just observe and show pictures and say, is this true? You think this is true? That's not science, and that's not how you get to truth. So what I'm saying is, if we're going to go off of observation, there's two methodologies that I use. One is the highest form of observation is to go with the patterns of the universe, because the universe is homogeneous, period, whether you agree on flat Earth or not. When you observe things like you're doing now, there's certain things that occur in cycles, and these patterns are reoccurring.
When you say the universe, what are you referring to?
Well, let's look it up and see what the definition is.
Well, I know what the definition of the universe is. It's the infinite space with all galaxies and all sorts of stuff, but there's no proof that anything exists outside of the Earth system.
So the only thing you feel that exists is Earth and things within Earth.
No, I said the only things that we can see are things within the Earth system. Okay. So when we look up in the sky, the distances they tell it, the closest star is 25 trillion miles away. Okay. That's ridiculous. Okay. You couldn't see that star at a couple light hours away, and it's 4.5 light years away. And all of the other stars are infinitely farther than that. The inverse square law of light says the light can't even make it to us. It gets dimmer and dimmer and dimmer because it spreads out geometrically, and every time you double the distance, it's a quarter of the brightness. But we can see these bright stars at these impossible distances, at impossible sizes. If you're talking about the universe, you're talking about a vacuum with burning balls of hydrogen in them. That's another problem. You're also talking about impossible gravity, magic gravity of the sun gas ball in a vacuum is holding on to planet, but it can't touch any of the moons because the gravity from the planets are holding on to the moons. And even though the moon is going towards the sun and away from the sun, it doesn't speed up and slow down. All of this is nonsensical, just totally nonsensical. Now, let's pretend that they're all egg-shaped and ovals and everything but a sphere. They all have curvature. They all have size. They all have distance. None of that is provable. However, here on Earth, we can take lasers, we can take mirror flashes, we can do all sorts of measurements, we can do physical measurements and show that there is no curvature. On an egg, there would be curvature. And that curvature, like if I'm standing at the equator of the egg and somebody's standing halfway to the tip of the egg, like how are they standing up straight to the center of the egg? How does that work?
Wait, but hold on. You went around what I said, right? We're not talking about what we can, if we're going to deal with things that we can see, I go back to what I said, in Earth, forget space then, in Earth, if we're going to go off observation, we have to look at what the Earth provides, which is patterns and shapes. Overwhelmingly, these patterns and shape are nothing in any way related to a flat disk. So if our method...
Without a flat disk.
So if our method is going to be observation on what we can see on Earth, not in this space, even if it's fictional, then we have to deal with things that we see on Earth. And from my position, that matches what the Earth is able to create, because the Earth is a living organism. So therefore, everything within Earth has to reflect the shape of the Earth and what Earth is. No space, no gravity, none of this hocus pocus. We're talking about what us as human beings can observe if we was to walk together across this planet. If we're going to use that method, we have to look at the patterns of the universe to reflect what shape the planet is.
So the patterns of the universe. Here's the patterns of the universe. Here's a lake. Right? So
my fault.
And stationary. So flat and stationary. So how can you say it mirrors the universe when you're just guessing what the universe is saying and doing?
No, I'm not guessing, because water is formless. So
water is formless, but large bodies of water at rest lay flat.
They cannot lay flat unless they rest against something, unless you believe that water just exists in air on its own.
I believe that large bodies, now you can take water vapor. Yes, you can take a drop of water. It creates a sphere, but anything bigger than a gallon of water at rest lays flat. Scientifically, provably, measurably flat. Water relentlessly seeks the ultimate base level, and it lays flat when at rest. You can't fill a dinner plate with water and take a drive in a car and expect that water to stay in it, even if you're on a straight road, right? Speeding up, slowing down, turning in any way, shape, or form, that water's going to slosh. This water is not sloshing. So you'd have to believe that. I mean, even the egg staying still in space doesn't explain flat water. If you look at the Bolivian salt flats, you know, when there's water on it, it's like a couple inches deep all the way for, I don't know, 100 miles or something. There would be curvature on an egg. There would be curvature, but there is no curvature. So take your spheroid egg and get rid of it. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
No, but let's look at what you're saying. In order for water to lay in any form, it has to rest against something solid, unless you believe that if I take a glass of water and I empty it, is it going to stay in the air as flat or no? It has to rest against something in order.
Right. So right. So if we had a bucket of water and you get rid of the bucket, well, that water is going to go somewhere. So the world is like a pond. It's like a giant pond. All of the continents are the islands, right? And the shoreline, the container for the world is Antarctica, right? They tell us Antarctica is the highest land on Earth. Right? That makes sense, because if it was the lowest land on Earth, all the water would just keep on running looking for its base level. But Antarctica is the highest land on Earth, not the lowest. Antarctica is not a continent at the bottom of a ball. Right? Yeah, that's what they tell us, that we're a spinning ball. Antarctica, the highest land on Earth, is a continent at the bottom, but it's not. Antarctica is the shoreline of our world. It is the container that holds our water in. Now, what's out here in the outer space? I don't know. It's off limits. No one's allowed to go beyond this line, this pink line, which is 60 degrees south, because of the Antarctic Treaty. The Antarctic Treaty says nobody is allowed to independently explore. No one's allowed to explore Antarctica ever. Right now, there's a couple companies that'll take you to the little peninsula out there. They'll show you some penguins, they'll show you some ice, and then they kick you out. No one's allowed to go there. Why is that? And the answer is because if we went there, we would find out that we don't live on a space egg.
Okay, but and this is what happens when we have these discussions. 1,000 things are mentioned, and we don't even deal with one at a time. Let's go back to the water. If I have a bowl and I put water in it, what shape does the water take place in that bowl?
Flat.
Okay, so if I put another bowl of the same size on top of it, isn't it true that flat surface of the water still exists if I have the same shaped bowl on top of the water?
In the air? The top bowl is in the air.
No, I have a bowl. I put water in it. So the bowl is right here. The water
Fill to the top. Fill to the top.
Fill to the top. I take the same size bowl, another one, and put it directly on top of that bowl. Does the water change shape?
No, but you put a top on it. So what?
So therefore, the water lays flat within a spherical object. So that logic that you're using, let me just finish. The logic that you're using is flawed because water can be flat within a spherical or egg-shaped object.
All right. So maybe you're talking about this. So I kind of believe that we live in a toroidal system. And in the center of that toroidal system, which could look like an egg, there is a flat plane, and that's where we live.
So that's my point, though. It's still.
So wait, do you agree that it's possible we live on a flat topographical plane inside a toroidal atmosphere, an atmosphere above us, and as above, so below? There's something below us. Don't know what it is, but there could be a firmament over us, energetic or physical, and a firmament below us. Do you think that is a possibility? Whether it's a salad bowl or an upside down dinner plate, that would be the top and the bottom. Is that, and that we live on this dielectric plane in the middle? Do you believe that's a possibility?
Yes.
Welcome to Flat Earth. Game over. 2 winners.
No, hold on. But so then this is what I was saying before. That's not a flat Earth, though.
Yes, it is.
It's not. It's a spherical Earth. The entire shape.
I'm talking about, forget the entire shape. I'm talking about the land that we walk and drive upon is topographically textured, but flat. The water doesn't curve like the shape of an egg. The water lays flat. We live on a flat, level, non-rotating plane. And what the exterior of our world is, yeah, it might be a pyramid shape. It might be an egg shape. It might be a perfect sphere. I don't know, and nor does it matter. The Earth that we live on is flat. We don't live on the outside of a ball in an infinite space vacuum. You're working on semantics here. You're talking about the overall shape. Yeah, you know what? The Earth isn't flat if you count the atmosphere and the dome, whatever you believe the dome to be. Sure, it's kind of humped. But the Earth that we live on, when I go on a frozen lake in Alaska, it's flat. It's ultimately perfectly flat, like a mirror.
But you're talking about the plane that we physically walk on. You can't separate it. And it's like you can't say flat Earth, right? And even if the bullshit pictures from NASA give you this dumb disk object, right? You can't separate it, because if it was just that, it wouldn't be able to exist in the universe. Whatever you describe the universe, it would have to be accompanied by something above it and below it that's physical in order for that shape to exist.
You don't know that. Actually, think about boiling a pot of water and the bubble starts forming on the bottom. Now, if you were inside that bubble, you're on a flat surface with a dome over you and water above you with no physical dome. So you're in a dome, almost an egg-shaped dome, and there's nothing physical above you other than water. We believe, most of us believe, that space is some form of water or pure water, primary water above, water below, but we live on a flat plane. If you ever went to a hockey rink, an ice skating rink in one of those dome buildings, probably, but if you haven't, you can just imagine, right? And so you go to the hockey rink and you go, this entire rink is flat. No, it's not. It's dome shaped. It's egg shaped. Okay, it is, but the ice is flat. Yeah, we can agree with that. The ice is flat. The Earth is flat. The Earth that we walk on is flat. What's above us is yet to be discovered, and it's probably not flat. Okay?
Yeah, but then you would call it flat ice or flat rink.
I'm flat Earth. The Earth is flat because guess what? The hallways around the ice is also flat and level, right? They might be up a little higher than the ice. And then when you go down the stairs into the bathroom, there's a lower level, but these are all flat, level, stationary planes. And whatever is containing let's say this is in the middle of the winter here, and it's freezing outside, but it's warm inside the hockey rink because it's heated inside the enclosed system. We live in an enclosed system that's intelligently designed. The surface is flat and stationary. We're on the same page. You're talking about the whole thing. We don't live on a globe. We don't live on an egg. However, if you look at the whole thing, sure, it might look like an egg, but we live on a flat plane. What
part of it looks like an egg, David?
Well, if if you could see all of the atmosphere and the dome, let's assume there's a dome. Now, some people, there's no dome, but if there's a dome, it's probably a curved dome. Step away from it, and that might look like the top half of an egg.
Sure, but that's a big if, right? That's a big if.
So but that's what he's talking about. He's talking about not the Earth, not just the part that we live on. He's talking about the entire system.
Listen, we have complete proof that the Earth is flat, horizontal, and stationary, right? There's proof, right? There's not even evidence. There's proof behind it. Amar,
right.
I'm trying to figure out where is even the slightest of evidence. Not proof, forget about the proof, because you'll never get there. But the evidence, where is the slight evidence that you're referring to the dome that surrounds this flat plane, right? Because that's what you're saying. You're saying that even if we live on a stationary horizontal plane, which is flat, we're basically, in layman's terms, we're in between the greater sphere, right? Is that what you're saying? That we have? All right. So where is that evidence?
I mean, that's where I was going.
Okay, let's do it. Oh, well, that's wonderful, because I would love to. David, wouldn't you like to hear it? Because he apparently has evidence to.
Go ahead.
But y'all saying that there's a dome, though. I don't even have to give you. You're already saying that. That's
there may or may not be a dome. I think there's a dome, but I haven't touched it. There's a lot of people that talk about like sky ice in Antarctica where the dome terminates. It very well might be that way. The dome could be frozen oxygen. It could be glass like the Bible says. It could just be an energetic dome. But
we have no proof. We have no proof.
We have no proof.
But there is proof of the flat Earth.
Right. Well, there is proof of the flat Earth. But I don't think he's arguing that we live on a curved surface. You're arguing that the surface we live on is flat, but it might be enclosed in an egg. Is that what you're saying?
Right. So you can't say it's flat Earth.
Welcome to flat Earth.
But that's this is why.
Let me ask you a question. Is your floor in your room that you're on flat?
Yes.
Well, what about the ceiling and the pitch of your roof? Is that flat?
Yes.
Is the pitch of your roof flat? You have a flat roof?
A flat roof?
Is your roof flat and level?
Yes.
The roof is. You don't have a tilted roof.
A tilted roof?
Yeah, like how does water flow off the roof of your house?
I mean, the water's going to flow.
Why is it going to flow off if it's flat?
Why is it going to fall off if it's flat? Because there's nothing stopping it from flowing off the roof.
Do you have I guess it was a really bad example.
Yeah.
It's your floor is flat. It doesn't matter what the shape of the walls and the ceiling are. The floor is flat. You're not walking on the floor and the ceiling. If you threw water at the ceiling, it's going to fall to the floor and it's going to lay flat.
But there's a few issues with that though, because okay, so the floor example, it exists within artificial structures. So in an artificial structures, I can create any shape I want. Squares are artificial structures in the earth. Let's not say the universe. In the earth, squares are artificial. The most efficient shape in earth, not the sky, not space, is a sphere. That's facts. That's science. Not a square, nothing else. The most efficient shape is a sphere. That's why living organisms are born or created from spheres, which goes into my other methodology and premise that the whole earth cannot be flat because it contradicts the continuity. Forget the universe.
What in space is a sphere? What bigger than, and not everything is a sphere. There's bananas, there's all sorts of stuff, right? They're not spheres, but people love spheres. Okay. A drop of water is a sphere. Well, it's not really a sphere because maybe in zero gravity it would be a sphere, but
well, let me clarify.
What in the universe is a sphere?
Well, okay. When I say sphere, right, it's again sphere, egg-shaped, oval, or womb shaped, right? So it's either of those. But at the end of the day, it comes to some kind of circular, not circular like a penny, where you could still say it's flat. Circular with circumference and width. It fits that. Even a banana comes from shapes that fit eggs, spheres, oval, or something to that degree.
What in the
Everything
universe is a sphere?
Well, I'm attempting to not go in the universe because you said keep it on Earth.
I'm just saying. You're saying everything. That was your statement that everything in the universe like spheres. What's a sphere?
Well,
what?
We can go on the torus field, right? The way it's if the way energy moves throughout I'm really attempting to stay away from space and the universe because you asked that. The way energy moves within the Earth, into the Earth, around the Earth, it can only happen in the spherical shape. It cannot happen in a flat disk, whether we're talking about the torus field or heat convection.
All right. Here's the problem. Where's the curvature if the surface of the Earth that we're on isn't flat? Where's the curvature?
Okay, again, with the curvature argument, this is why I stay away from curvature and gravity because we got to.
You better.
Well, I mean, I can go into it, but the curvature, right? First of all, if I'm on this plane, right, assuming we agree it's a plane, I cannot see it's all going to look flat. I'm not going to see a curve because my relative view from where I'm at is going to look flat. Anyone that says that they can prove a curve from their subjective view is bullshitting. In order to objectively show a curve, I would think you would have to take a flat earther and a non-flat earther, go up in the plane or some kind of flying object at a certain altitude, and then both of them can see for themselves what it is. And then based on what those two opposing views see is what you can see if a curve or not. If there's no experiment that's done, we're philosophizing.
And again, I don't believe that taking a flat earther and a globe earther up on a balloon to 120,000 feet would prove either, because both of them would see, one would see a flat earth and the other one would see a sphere. For example, whoops, that's not what I wanted.
I mean, it could be a plane. It doesn't have to be a balloon.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like, we see the same distance in all directions. So this guy is seeing to the tip of this arrow in all directions because we see a certain distance and then the sky meets the land, and that's our optical horizon, not like an egg. An egg would require a physical horizon. That's our optical horizon. But then when you add a line to that, tangent to one end, you'll see curvature, and the globe will say that's the curve of the sphere, and the flat earther will go, no, that's just the end of the limit of your vision. So that's how we see. Sometimes we think, when we're up high, or even some people on ground level think they see a curvature because they're seeing a sweep, a field sweep, and it's just the limit of your vision. It's the way your eyes work.
Hey, Mark, can I ask you a quick question, buddy? Just a quick couple of questions, actually.
No problem.
Yeah. The body that we know as the sun in the sky, is it local or is it what NASA says 93 million miles away? What do you think? What's your interpretation?
My opinion from research, there's more evidence to show from history that it's around 93 million than to say that it's not.
I'm sorry. You think that it is 93 million, or you think that it's not? You broke up a little bit.
I think it is based on history and evidence.
And so I would say...
What evidence would that be?
And real quick, and the moon, you would say the same? Is 200,000 miles away?
Based on Hindu cosmology, they've given, I would say.
Do you believe that the moon has its own rotation and rotates on its own axis?
I'm not sure about that one.
Okay.
So you said evidence that the sun is far away. What evidence would that be? Because Aristophanes said the rays must be parallel because it's so far away. You would need a super far sun to see essentially parallel rays, but no one's ever seen parallel rays. We just see rays that are coming in from a local light source, clearly a local light source. Okay. So when you say there's evidence that the sun is 93 million miles away, what evidence is that? There is no evidence. There's only evidence showing that it's closer.
What do you mean by local light source?
So if you just basic geometry, follow these lines up, and the source of this light is not much higher than you can see in the picture. If you have an infinitely far sun, the rays should be coming in parallel, right? And that's how the whole Aristophanes argument, where with his sticks and shadows, that he said, hey, we have the rays are coming in parallel. Why did he say the rays are coming in parallel when nothing ever has shown parallel rays. And then here's a small local sun. He's got no shadow here. He's got a same shadow length here. He can do the same math and figure out the sphericity of this flat plane. There's no evidence that the sun is far. There's tons of evidence that it's close, right? No evidence. This is a close local sun, right? And that's what we see, and that's what we experience.
Right, but okay, so let's go with that, right? Aristophanes was wrong, but he wasn't wrong based on the reason that you just gave. He was wrong because the experiment that it's alleged that is attributed to him, he did it from a frame of reference that was improper to begin with. The 2 points that he was using to run that experiment was an incorrect starting point. And I have the origin and history of, if you go back to where he got that from and the exact points where it should have been, it's spot on. It verifies the rotation, it verifies the distance, and it verifies.
How so? It works on both. Here's a local sun. There's no angle here, and 500 miles away, there is an angled shadow, right? And he did the same thing, but he assumed a far sun. Therefore, the equation is based on an assumption of a far sun and a curved Earth. This is the assumption of a local sun, like we experience, and a flat Earth. He did the same equation would tell him the sphericity, the same sphericity of this flat plane. So Aristophanes is nothing but a story. Okay, he wasn't even he's the guy that figured out the shape of the Earth within 2%, according to Carl Sagan, that brainwashed everybody with the Cosmos series back in the 80s. And when in fact it works on a flat Earth better. It works on a flat Earth better because the evidence shows a local sun here.
But I'm telling you, Aristophanes, that experiment, he started from a wrong point. You can't just run the experiment anywhere on Earth.
Here's the.
Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Finish. I interrupted you.
No, what I'm saying, Aristophanes, the whole origin of his experiments, right, which he didn't originate those. He started from wrong points. The frame of reference that he started from, they were not fit to work according to the locations that he was using. Go ahead.
I know, I agree, but the whole thing, Aristophanes, the most famous guy in the world, all the other mathematicians that came out of that area that wrote books, none of them mentioned him. That's like leaving Michael Jordan out of the history of the Chicago Bulls, right? Aristophanes is a story that was inserted in the mid 1900s into our history, right? It's a made up story. Okay. And then we've exposed this so much that Neil deGrasse Tyson, the high priest of scientism, he moved the goalpost again. He's like, well, it works perfectly on a flat Earth too, except if you add a third well, it doesn't work. And then that's all he said. Well, it does work with a third well perfectly on a flat Earth. Okay. It works perfectly on a flat Earth. So I will give you this. The sticks and shadows experiment doesn't prove either. Okay, but they use it as their main proof of the globe. It's absolutely ridiculous. And when someone says, tells me about Aristophanes, I just go, cool story, bro.
Yeah. Amor, you were jumping into the evidence behind the spherical Earth, right? And we were just jumping into that. Can you talk a little bit more about that and the science behind it? Because I don't think we let you get into that too deeply.
Okay. Yeah, let me pull that up. And just for the record, in terms of the top half of the sphere, based on what David was saying and from my experience with flat earthers, that's already a consensus of belief.
By who?
So I don't.
What is?
In terms of the dome.
No, it's not a consensus of belief. We don't know. We can't go there. So we're all speculating about it. We're doing experiments. Some people lead with the Bible, said, well, the Bible says this, therefore I believe it. Even though that may be a good proof to some, it's not a good proof to people that don't believe in the Bible. You could say it's hearsay, if you will. So to say there's consensus on the dome, you're 100% incorrect there.
Or are you referring to the flat earthers?
Yes, I mean, it keeps changing, which is why.
No, it doesn't keep changing. These are things that are out of our reach. So all flat earthers are trying to figure it out. I would say a majority of them believe there's some sort of dome. And then you ask them, what's the dome made out of? That's going to break us up into other groups, right? But It doesn't matter because we are speculating on that. We don't need to speculate about the no curvature. If the Earth is a egg, there has to be curvature, right? And if you think it's an egg, is that egg approximately the size of the globe that they tell us, or is it 1,000 times bigger?
Again, I can't answer that because I don't have the instruments to show. Right. Neither do flat earthers.
Right. And how does a plane fly around an egg?
How does a plane fly around an egg?
Yeah.
Even how does a plane fly around
an egg? Like, because the curvature is changing when you go over the middle hump, the curvature kind of levels out. How does gravity work? If someone's standing on the hump and somebody's 1,000 miles to the butt of the egg and 1,000 miles to the tip of the egg, would they be standing at different angles? Would their feet all meet? If you drew lines down through their legs and their feet, would it all meet at the center of the egg? Or are they going to meet in different spots? How does gravity work on an egg?
Well, I can explain, the concept of gravity, how it works on Earth. But in terms of the example that you just gave, anybody that gives an answer without an actual experiment of flying around to test that out would be speculating. So I'm not even going to speculate on that because I don't have the tools and the resources to answer that question. Now, in terms of gravity is an illusion, right? So a lot of people, and this is where a lot of globe earthers mess up, is because the example of gravity is they give something and then they drop it. But even Einstein said that that's not how it works, right? Gravity is an illusion. It's a secondary force. The original force is electrostatic force and magnetism. From that, what we see or what they tell us is gravity, that's when it comes in. But the initial force behind that is electricity and magnetism. So the apple, if you drop an apple, it's not the apple falling, right? It's the surface going up to the apple. Even Einstein said this. So that's why with gravity, we can get into it, but it's not what we think it is. If that answers that question.
Well, it answers the question, that science doesn't even know what gravity is. They say, ask, again, Neil deGrasse, he says, we don't know what it is, and we need 96% dark matter and dark energy to make up the part that we don't know. So that's like taking 100 question exam and getting 94 of them, 96 of them answers wrong. And they're like, you still get an A because we're covering for you there, right? Gravity makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. But if you look at our Earth, we live in this electromagnetic system. Okay, there's a incoherent electrostatic acceleration. The sun and the moon are the anode and the cathode of this free energy system that we live in. The salt water carries the current. Salt water carries the electric current, and the land is the salt bridge. So the Earth is this incoherent negative charge to it. So anything that leaves the Earth is in this positive field now, and it is attracted to the Earth. There's a weak attraction, a very weak attraction, just like they say gravity is a weak force. And then buoyancy and density sort everything else out from there.
So based on an electric model of gravity, what you're saying doesn't contradict gravity. And I could explain that with what I'm about to read if you want. And I'm not even going to ask you how you got that, because if we're going to question things, we have to go, well, where did you get that from to deduce that that's what it is?
Well, just through evidence. I mean, just looking at, the electromagnetic wake of the sun and the moon as they circle over the flat Earth plane. Just looking at, all of the stuff. And again, is this 100%? The Earth is testably, measurably has a negative charge to it. Testable, right? We can do experiments like, the tinfoil add a negative charge to it and it floats up in the air because the negative charge overwhelms the negative charge of the Earth. And is it defying gravity or is it defying this electrostatic flow? That's all it's doing, right? It's not defying gravity. There is so much information about electromagnetic propulsion that they're hiding from us. They might even be using some of this free energy, electrostatic energy, magnetic energy in airplanes these days, but we don't have access to that information.
But even in your example, you could still, and I'm not a big fan of gravity, right? But based on under certain conditions, yes, you can back gravity even with the misinformation that they taught. Because even in your example, and even if you take the example of a car or a train, The force, let me not use force, the reason a person would jerk back as acceleration. Acceleration under certain references would show gravity as a second force. Yes, absolutely. It would. And it would even fit the example that you're giving, because the initial force of the movement would be electricity and magnetism. But when it comes to something accelerating, that's when gravity would kick in.
What gravity is holding your egg planets in orbit?
Electricity.
And so there's other egg planets circling around our sun, and just like we are. Is that what you believe?
I would have to, because if the universe, I believe, is congruent, it doesn't deal with these kind of anomalies of one thing being this and something being completely different. Yes, I would think that the other so-called planets would be of similar shape to Earth, whatever that shape is. And the force that holds the universe together is electricity. I believe in an electric universe.
But you're saying they'd have to be the shape of our planet, the other planets. What evidence do you have of other planets? They used to be called wandering stars until NASA stuck their big foot in it. Okay. Wandering stars don't sound like planets to me. When we look at them, when we look up into the sky, we don't see balls. We see what NASA shows us, ridiculous pictures. All right. But that's not what we see. Right? If this is what we see, if we actually look at Mars, this is what we see. We see this energetic light, its own light source. Okay, so you still believe that the sun is reflecting off the Mars egg and shining back to Earth, so we see this bright pulsating ball in the sky. And then you also believe that somehow all of the egg planets can circle around each other, and their moons can circle around them, or the egg-shaped moons, and they are predictable where they go. I mean, that predictability is just not happening. I mean, the three body problem, you can't model three bodies, let alone the 40 or 50 or 60 that are in our solar system alone. And somehow they constantly repeat. We go on these giant cycles. We have eclipses every year, which would be impossible, right? And then the eclipses repeat every 18 years. That doesn't make any sense in an helio egg system.
Okay, I can answer that, but let's go off of what we see, right? If we're looking in, I don't want to call it space, but if we're looking out and we see these bodies, whatever we want to call
You see lights. Go ahead.
What shape are those lights, if we want to call them lights?
Couldn't tell you. What shape is the moon?
Right. So whatever we see as the moon, what shape is it?
You tell me. I don't know what shape the moon is.
And look, from what I see, forget everybody else. From what I see the moon being a shape of a sphere.
Okay. Is this a sphere right here? Is that a sphere?
That's a picture, so I can't.
Well, this is the distance. It's a light that you're seeing, a light coming off it. Is that a sphere?
Yeah, but the reason why I'm not going to answer that is because if you show me NASA pictures, it could also be fraudulent. So I don't know
what I'm showing you is when we look up at the sky, the thing that we think is the moon, we don't know what it is. We don't know what shape it is. Okay.
Does it look like a flat disc in any way?
It doesn't look like a sphere because it's equally lit. Right, the moon has it has equal lighting on it. Right, if you look at a full moon, trying to find my full moon picture.
Can you see the curve of the moon?
So if this is a sphere being lit up by the sun in your helio egg system, there would be a bright spot, and then it would get dimmer towards the end. But when there's a full moon, it's completely lit, like it's its own light. Okay, like it's emitting its own light. And then when there's a new moon, you can't see it. No one's ever seen the moon once it's gone new in less than 40 to 60 hours. Okay. Almost over 2 full days. Right. No one's ever seen it. If it was a ball, an egg, or even a physical object, we would see it by the earth shine, because the earth shine would light up the moon, just like the moonshine lights up the earth. But we don't see it. So claiming you know anything about the shape, distance, or size of the moon is unfair. The only thing you could say is it's a light. Disney and NASA brother and sister, have programmed you into making assumptions of that, well, the other planets have to be like our planet. Well, planets don't exist.
But you said a lot. I'm not basing it off NASA, right? I'm doing my best to stay on Earth, right?
Yeah.
That shape you just showed me of the moon, or what we agree as the moon, what shape is that from what you're looking at?
It looks circular, but again, when I took my square light and held it over that dome, it looked like a sphere inside the dome. We don't know what size these things are, but you know what? You ask me, I think the moon that we see is spherical. I kind of do. At least it's clearly circular, right? But it could be convex. It could be anything, right? We don't know, and we don't know what it is. We don't know how far it is, and neither do you.
So let's say we're on the same page. Let's say we don't know any of that, right? We're only sticking to what we can see here on Earth. That shape is a sphere. It resembles something that's closer to it.
I'm sorry. It may not be a physical object, right? Look at the moon in the day sky. Those the craters, so they call. They look blue, kind of like you're seeing through it. And at nighttime, they look black, kind of like you're seeing through it. The moon could be plasma. If you look at who's that there was in 1950 something, there was a scientist that was interviewed saying that the moon, he believes it's a plasma. He explained it. He's knocking down NASA, and then he was quickly silenced, and that was the end of that.
But let's say that's true. It still goes back to my methodology. If we're going to go off observation, as above, so below. So even if you're talking about that not being whatever, let's say it was a complete hexagon, but what we're seeing is nothing near a hexagon. We're seeing a sphere. And then when we're on Earth, overwhelmingly, what we're seeing is matching what I'm seeing above this plane.
Let's say
that's how the world, the universe, Earth works.
Let's say I could zoom in. I could zoom in on a raindrop. I would say, well, then the ocean also must be a sphere. Right. But we know that the ocean's flat. You can't say the thing I see in the sky that I think is a rock, which it isn't, that I think is 238,000 miles away, but it's clearly not. That means that the Earth is an egg or a sphere. That these are horrible, horrible assumptions on your part.
But you can't use water because water is formless. And the fact that we agree that water can only exist as some kind of container or something that holds it, water in and of itself doesn't have shape. And we already agreed that you can have flat water where it's bowl on the bottom and bowl on the top.
Well, so that's not the water. I mean, the surface of the Earth is flat. The land, topographical, of course, but it's level. It's provably level, right?
What
you get
level?
a buck. The whole Earth is a level plain with hills and valleys. Okay, like if you got a pile of sand and you put it on a board and you shook the board, the sand's just going to level right out. It's all going to level out, okay? Because the Earth is level. I don't care if you tilted the board, you got a bucket of sand, you shake it around, even the bucket's at an angle, the sand's going to level with the water, right? Because the Earth is level.
But you see how we keep switching from the total shape to an aspect within the shape?
I'm not going to argue with you the total shape because we don't know the total shape. I don't care what shape it is above us. I'm talking about the Earth that we're living on. It's not an egg.
I'm talking the entire Earth.
I'm talking about the stuff that we can measure. You can't measure the sky. Okay. We can measure the Earth. It's not an egg.
But you agree the sky is within this firmament, which is...
I don't know what the sky is. I don't know. I can't go in there. The highest I've gone is maybe 35,000 feet. I don't know. And neither do you.
I'm asking you personally, do you agree with the firmament in the dome?
If I had to put money down, I would say there is some sort of firmament up there. Yes. But that does nothing to do with the shape of the Earth. Now, the Earth system, if I said, excuse me, the shape of the Earth system, including the dome, yeah, that doesn't seem that. I would say maybe it's like a friggin' pecan. Who the hell knows, right? But the Earth surface is flat. Let's take Daniel. Good. I'm talking about the surface. When I talk about the flat Earth, I'm talking about the surface that we walk and swim upon. Can we get a couple callers in, Daniel? Daniel's on the phone.
No, I'm here, buddy.
Can we get a couple callers in?
Yeah, absolutely. I was gonna say if you guys want to come out with some closing arguments, but I think I don't think there's any need. I don't think there's any
I
need
think
for
we're
it.
actually on a lot more common ground. Like he's talking about the whole Earth system. Yeah, we could have that discussion all day, but let's not. Let's talk about the surface that we walk on. Now, you agree that it could be a plane within a toroidal system? It could be. Don't know, right? But the Earth is not an egg. It's not a sphere, and it's not in a space vacuum.
I disagree that it's not a sphere. Now, I didn't know that I was coming to talk about the aspect of the Earth. I thought it was the whole Earth, but in another conversation, I think I could provide evidence where if we're just going to deal with the plane aspect, there is some evidence that it is spherical. But I was only prepared to talk about the entire shape of the Earth in which you cannot separate the plane from it or wouldn't exist.
All right, guys. Plus 52 998 200 2360. Once again, it's plus 52 998 200 2360. Only on WhatsApp, ladies and gentlemen. Don't call directly in, please. You will be charged. We are in Mexico. This is a Mexican number. All right. And if you have any questions for Amar or David, please feel free.
Give the number again. I'll type it in the chat.
Plus 52 998 200 2360. Plus 52 998 200 2360.
Okay.
So I think we're closer than we actually think. Amar. Oh, caller. Hello, caller. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hello, my name's Aaron. You call me Pharaoh. I'm calling from the UK, England.
Aaron from the UK. How you doing, buddy? Question is for who? And just one question, please, so we could take a lot of other callers.
No worries. I was just wondering what you think of this this perception. See, because the Greeks kind of had it flunked out too. See, Earth is flat, but it's upon a body of water, and that body of water does not take any form particularly, but it does change. That's why depending on the other planets and alignments, as they rotate right, and as we rotate left, so they create different chemical and biological magnetic pulses. See, like Earth is a spell. There's like crazy wizards and shit in the 9th dimension and shit. So Earth is literally just a spell. So it's like a wave, right?
Aaron, brother, do you have a question for either David or Amar?
No, I was just saying, what do you think of like because truly it's witchcraft, if you really think of it. So yeah, and when you go into you mentioned the egg. See, does the egg birth the lotus? Because I can see the perception you have with that.
What was the question? Can you repeat that? With the lotus, what did you say?
The egg.
Uh-huh.
That he talks about Earth being an egg.
Yeah.
I agree with that. It's like an egg, and it has a coil. It's almost as a coil, and then it can it opens up to a lotus, and that's the further that's why we go through so many transformations.
Okay, brother.
These planets, and it opens up the lotus. So.
All right. Thank you for the call.
Thank you very much for your call, brother. Caller, what's your name and where you're calling from? No, she didn't go through. Yeah, see, everybody has their own subjective view.
Right. I mean, there's so many things that we're trying to figure out, but there is no curvature. There is no egg.
Caller, how you doing? What's your name and where you calling from?
Yeah, my name's Ben. I'm from the UK.
Hey Ben, how you doing, buddy?
Yeah, really good, mate. Really good. Yeah, I think I'm a flat earther, but very interesting on from both sides. Me, it's sort of flat, but contained within some sort of a sphere, as much as we can probably perceive on the top part. As below, it's I mean, yeah, everything like a water level, like an air bubble, to get something level. If you've got the water with the air bubble in it, it's always, if it's level, the air bubble's in the middle. If you were to get on an aeroplane and fly around the curved surface, and you took your level.
There's so many people calling in that it throws people off the call. That's what's going on. Ricardo, be careful. Yeah.
Was there a question in there?
No. He was just stating what he actually agreed with everybody. Caller, what's your name and where you're calling from? Yeah, he agreed that go ahead. We'll just talk. Caller, yep. Sorry. What's your name? Where you calling from, buddy?
Hi, my name's Jeff G. I'm calling from Livingston, California.
All right. Jeff, you said?
Jeff G. You just call me JP.
JP. All right, JP. What's up, buddy? You have a question for David or Amar?
Yeah, so this can go to either of them. The question I want to ask is, how do we know that everything, if not most of what NASA puts out is like verifiably bullshit? Like, I've seen a lot of it online, and I've heard a lot of things about like the Walt Disney and Werner von Braun relationship. We know he was a Nazi, and we know that NASA and Hebrew means to deceive. But how can we prove, like, if I were to have this conversation with somebody, how could I prove that we have to take NASA out of the equation because what they do is like wrong or like they're faking it?
Okay, thank you for your question, brother.
And the answer is watch all of the debunking videos, and they're all on my app, the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. Hit the question mark button, and then hit the NASA. Are all space agencies lying? There's an infinite number of hand-selected videos right there. The daily video, usually there's a NASA video in there every week or so, but tons of resources in there, save you a ton of time. That's my app, and it's one of the best tools for researching Flat Earth.
Now, David is an instructor in the Syncretism Society Virtual Academy. We have 25 instructors from all across the plane, teaching everything from alchemy to hermeticism to stationary horizontal plane that we live on. We have our own cooking show, for God's sakes, how to eat clean. We have Santos Bonacci teaching all of the esoteric sciences with Mehmet and Christopher, and sovereignty with Rebecca, guys. So if you want to hear more of David, and come on, because he has live classes every week, all right, where you could call in and ask him questions directly. We haven't done it in a couple of weeks because we were planning this debate or discussion, as you want, whatever you want to call it. But he will be coming on more often. We will be having more of these discussions / debates, but it will be exclusive to the Academy. We just wanted to present this one to everybody to let everybody know what we'll be doing going forward in the expansion of the Academy. So if you want to become an alum of the Syncretism Society Virtual Academy, you go to syncretismsociety.com, all right, and you become a member and join. It's very simple. You guys will love it. You have your own tribe with people that you relate with, people that you can talk to and have discussions with. We have our own Telegram groups and just like-minded souls, as well as we are helping many people travel and relocate to Mexico now, okay? So guys, if you are looking to get into Mexico, right, and you don't know where to start, and you don't know how to get your residency, you don't know how to get your citizenship, right? You don't know where to move, contact us at syncretismsociety@gmail.com and title it "Need Help Now," okay? In all caps, all right? We're helping. Right now, we have tens and tens of people that we have helped come to Mexico and relocate fully and get fully integrated. All right, I just wanted to let that be known. David Weiss's app is also at syncretismsociety.com. Shout out to his app. It's literally the best flat earth app out there. There's nothing comparable. He has so many cool videos up, guys, and the locator that he has, the GPS locator of other flat earthers, is insane. All right, you could literally find another flat earther living right next to you, and you would have never knew it. Right, and that's what he has done. So the app is wonderful, guys. Make sure you go to the App Store and download it. Let's get the next caller in. Hello, caller.
You can communicate with those other flat earthers.
Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah. We'll plug it in as well before we leave, David, for sure, buddy, because I love the app. Caller, what's your name and where you're calling from?
Hello?
Yeah, buddy. What's your name? Yeah, what's your name and where you calling from?
Chris from New York City.
Chris.
Yeah, from New York City, Chris.
Okay, Chris, what's going on?
Hello. Hey, what's up, man? No, I just had a quick question. If you guys can, I guess, give their opinion on ancient Egyptian, I guess, their influence on our understanding of the skies, what's here and what's above, and how it relates to a flat or globe Earth. That's all.
Thank you for your question, brother.
Thanks. I will say that I believe all of our history is a lie, from the pyramids to the Grand Canyon. You know that there's Egyptian, artifacts and structures at the bottom of the Grand Canyon off limits. You're not allowed to find it because that blows away the whole erosion story of the Grand Canyon. All of our history is a lie. Look into Tataria on the app, hit the web button and go to the Tataria links there. Subscribe to all those channels that you like there, and you'll have a lifetime of stuff. Check it out.
We have an amazing instructor by the name of Campbell Purvis.
Campbell's amazing.
Yeah, he's also an instructor. We have exclusive lessons on the Syncretism Society Virtual Academy as well. He puts out 2 lessons per week on ancient Tartaria and the ancient technologies.
Autodidactic, one of my favorite channels out there.
He's amazing, yes. So guys, you could connect with him in the academy, okay, on a one-on-one basis, right? And you can't get that anywhere else. You can't contact the guy. This is only done on our platform. We got a caller?
I wanted to answer that question if I could.
Absolutely, brother. Go ahead.
Well, maybe if there's a next time, but the other part of my discussion presentation, I was going to go into Egypt and how them building the pyramids and the Sphinx actually coincided with spherical oval-shaped Earth as opposed to flat. But that was going to take a lot of time. So I was going to do that. But there is, based on their calculations and based on the way that the pyramids were in sync with different constellations, it does back spherical or similar to spherical shaped Earth. But maybe another time I'll do that.
Yeah. So the fact that there's many pyramids and other structures on Earth that do sync to the stars is actually proof of a flat stationary Earth with a stars, or the lights that we call stars, fixed within the firmament spinning around. If you look at there's monuments like this at every November 11th at 11:11 a.m. The sun lines up with all of these holes and lights up this emblem on the ground perfectly. If we lived in a heliocentric, beehive spinning, corkscrewing universe, none of that would ever happen more than once. We'd be somewhere else. This shows that the Earth is stationary, the stars are fixed, and they rotate around and they reset every year. Okay. If we lived in a heliocentric model, like they say, the stars would change every hour, and they would never repeat.
And that was part of my presentation, was to show the opposite, was that based on the Sphinx and based on different, in astrology they call them ages, based on different ages of the grand clock, I guess you could say, that it shows at different ages that the stars and the pyramids were aligned in different ways. And that could only happen under a spherical Earth.
Well, that's a cool story, but it doesn't happen. So the story that you're telling is 40,000 years ago, we had a different North Star, and in 40,000 years from now, we're going to have another North Star, but we just happen to live in the time where the North Star lines up with all of our structures, lines up with the Georgia Guidestones. This little hole right here shows the pyramids, shows the North Star. And, you do a time lapse, it's spinning around. That's impossible. It wouldn't line up for 5 minutes. By the time they were done drilling the hole, it would move. So these cycles can only happen on a stationary Earth with fixed stars in the sky.
No, but that's what I'm saying. What I was going to show was that they accounted for the time frame in which they built it and the time frame that was to come. And they did that according to the stars not being fixed.
So they timed it. They're like, when we're done with this, that star is going to line up there. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know which particular star you're talking about.
Well, I'm talking about the stars that line up with the pyramids, or the stars that line up with the Georgia Guidestones, or any of the stars that line up with these ancient cultures. You're saying they built it knowing that they would line up in the future? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. And if you want to look to what I'm saying, you could look to the structures of naphtha playa. That's one. And if you look at, here's my other source here.
Where's the tap out?
It's called The Origin of the Sphinx. It actually gives you the methodology in which they did that. And this is the other one that I'm not just making it up. This isn't for me. It shows you the exact methodology and the exact system that even right now, when they put it in a computer, that they referenced it from tens of thousands of years prior, even up till today. So you can verify what I'm saying in these two books.
Cool story. Right? I knew what David's going to say. Cool
story.
story.
Yeah, cool story.
When those shades come out, it's cool story time. How you doing, caller? What's your name and where you calling from?
Hey, guys. My name's Shannon. I'm from California.
How you doing,
What's up, Shannon?
Oh, I'm doing amazing. It's really good to get into you guys. I just got to say real quick, I've been following Santos for like 10 years. I love what you guys are doing. Danny, thank you so much for helping ground Santos and getting this word out.
Thank
you,
you,
guys
brother.
Are amazing. All right.
Appreciate you.
So, real quick, sorry. So, my question is for David, because I am a flat earther and I've been following this for a long time, but I find these little discrepancies that kind of throw me off, you know? So, I'm curious, what's up with the Southern Cross? Because when I heard of Polaris, I was like, that's a for sure. But as soon as I heard of the Southern Cross, that threw me off.
Right. So the thing that you're referring to is how does somebody see the Southern Cross in Santiago and also see it at the same time in Australia? Is that your question?
Right. So like Polaris is a fixed star and we can see that all the stars are rotating around it. And so that's a pretty good identifier that there's a flat plane. But if there's a constellation in the southern sky that also is fixed, that almost would suggest that there is a north and southern pole.
So there isn't a constellation that's fixed at all. And the southern axial rotation is a point that changes. It's not a star. Okay, so Sigma Octara, there's no star at that point. Again, the optics of the sky, as I showed you with the water, with the arrows going in different directions, are no way to prove the shape of the Earth. In the app under Southern Star Rotations, there's a whole bunch of videos that'll show you a whole bunch of different explanations of how it can work. So, but the GlobeEarth argument is if you're here in Santiago and at midnight you look up and you see the Southern Cross over here, how is it possible somebody in Australia looks up out this way and sees the Southern Cross? And that's easy because when it's midnight here, it's noon over here, and 12 hours later, the Southern Cross rotates around. And at midnight, the Southern Cross is over here. And someone says, well, at the same time, somebody in Johannesburg and somebody in Santiago at the same time can see the Southern Cross. And the answer is when the Southern Cross is right here. So midnight, let's say it's midnight here. It's 10 p.m. here, and they look up and they see the Southern Cross over here. And over here, it's 4 o'clock in the morning, and you look up and you see the Southern Cross there. It's the same thing.
Amor, you wanna jump in?
I think he tapped out.
I think he jumped out though. Okay, caller, what's your name and where you calling from?
Yo, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Hey, this is Alex. I'm actually from Australia. How we doing?
Doing well, buddy. Doing well. You sound like you're from Brooklyn, not Australia. He said, "How we doing?"
Man, I'm down from down under. Listen, I just wanted to say it's a great honor, and I love the work that you guys are doing at Syncretism Society. And bro, David Weiss, man, you're the man. Love you. I love your stuff, bro. I got your app. It is amazing, bro. Anyone out there who hasn't got it, please get it.
Thanks.
So, and yeah, no worries, brother. I just wanted to pose a question to David. David, look, I have a background in physics. I've always loved cosmology, always loved space since I was a little boy.
We all did.
Ever since I started listening, I know it's a sad story. And ever since I started watching your stuff and watching like Santos Bernardi stuff, I've been seeing some things that have been contradicting what I've been believing. Now, I've read Stephen Hawking's autobiography. I've studied Albert Einstein's theories and stuff like that. And my question is, why are these people trying to push the heliocentric model, knowing that, I don't know if they know, but why are they doing this while knowing that this ancient knowledge about the flat Earth exists? What is their goal? Why all these, noted scientists that exist doing this to us, bro? I'm so confused. I'm so confused.
When you say noted scientists, who are we talking about? You're talking about Bill Nye, the lion guy with the bow tie. You're talking about Neil deGrasse Tyson, the failed actor. You're talking about a small handful of paid actors. And why the lie? It's because it's about control. Everything that's going on in the world right now is about control. And they want you to believe that you're insignificant, flying through an infinite space vacuum, where an asteroid could take us out. We're running out of food, water, land, everything. All of that's nonsense. Here in the United States, every family could have a half an acre in Texas and the entire country would be empty. Okay. So all of that is complete and total lie. So what they don't want you is in a situation where you can't deny the creator, right? Many people, including myself, denied the creator for my whole life until 6-7 years ago, until I understood, oh my God, the earth is intelligently designed. Therefore, there's a creator. And once you understand that, once you understand you're at the center of creation, once you understand that, you start realizing what great power you have. You have amazing powers. And it's literally the analogy I use is from the documentary, The Matrix with Keanu Reeves, where at the end of the movie, Keanu's unplugged from the mind matrix. He sees the world. He takes back his power. That's where we're all going. That's where the Syncretism Society people are going. We're taking back our power versus Neo at the beginning of the movie, plugged into the mind matrix, watching TV, knowing something's wrong, depressed, can't figure it out. And that's because he's lost in space. He's lost in the mind matrix. The shape of the earth doesn't matter. It's the fact, it's the lie that matters, right? And so people say, what difference does it make? I still have to go to work tomorrow. That's not true. Like, I used to say that, and now I don't go to work. Look how I could never have imagined I would be in this situation that I'm in right now, preaching a creator. That's insane, because I used to tune podcasts out as soon as they mentioned the Bible, the Quran, or anything. Even though I love the podcast, I'm like, oh, you guys are religious fanatics, right? I used to, flat Earth, a joke. That's insanity. I worked up I went to college. I worked in corporate America. I left corporate America. I started my own company. I became an entrepreneur with a super successful company. And then when I had it all, like my life dream, I got it all, I walked away from it all. That is the most insane story ever. But it's because I understand where we are and what this place is. Absolutely. When people say, what does it matter? What does it matter? This is what matters, right? They're spending all this money and focusing all this nonsense on space, and this is going on here on Earth. Okay. We're allowing this to go on. And this is just the beginning. The whole child trafficking thing that's going on, people have no idea. I saw a great sign. A truck in my town went by, and the back of the truck, it had a giant sign that said, pedophiles belong in prison, not in the White House. And that says it all. Okay. So why does it matter? It matters because Luciferian Satanists, and I'm being super nice, are running this place, and we're allowing them. We have the power to take it back. We have the power to take it back tonight, but people are sleeping and lost in space.
David, you hit it right on the button. Ladies and gentlemen, David said it so well. I mean, the easiest way to control a population is for them to push the agenda that they don't know where they're from or where they're going. All right. And the fact that we're spinning in outer space, going God knows how fast into oblivion, right? We arose from pond scum, right? And we're just, right, floating at Mach, I don't know, it was like 88 or something like that, through outer space, going into nowhere. It simplifies everything for them, right? It right away makes the average person understand that I am nothing. I come from nothing, and I'm going nowhere. Right?
Daniel, we're orbiting the sun 10 times faster than this hypersonic sled, 10 times faster than this, right? 10 times faster. And we're chasing the sun 100 times faster than that. You can't even see this at 1/10 of the slower speed.
It's insane.
Okay.
Real quick, guys.
It's insanity.
This is the bowl of water, flat. You said couldn't exist. Just showing you.
Where do we live? On the outside of that?
I'm just saying, you can live on the inside.
I'm asking you, where do we live? Where do we live on that?
On the inside.
Where on the inside? Do we live on the wall, on the part, on the top part? Or do we live on the wall on the bottom part, or do we live on the surface of the water?
Which wall?
I'm asking you in that pull your example back up. In that bowl of water, and you got your top. Let's pretend that bottom one's filled with water. Maybe it is. I can't say.
The water's flat. It is water. The water's flat. Boom.
Right, but where are our feet? Are our feet on that green bowl on the inside?
It's inside the earth.
Where are our feet? If there was a human, if that's the earth, where's the bottom of someone's feet? Where are they?
Within the earth.
Where within the earth? Are they floating on the earth?
Do we agree first that it would be within the earth? This whole shape?
I'm asking you. I don't know what your model is. Where are my feet in there?
It's two bowls with water, right? It would be in the middle.
Can you ask the question, Daniel? Because he's not hearing me.
It would be in the middle. It would be in the middle between
on the surface of the water. On the surface of the water.
Which is?
Yes.
Amar, which is what?
Which is within the earth.
No, but which is what?
It doesn't matter. It's flat.
No, just curious. You're looking at that bowl of water right now, right? The surface of that water is what shape?
It's flat.
There we go.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for joining us today. Really appreciate it. We're at the top of the hour. No, we'll do this again. Don't worry about it, brother. I want you back. We're gonna do this again, and we're gonna go deeper into it. It's not a problem at all. I love this conversation. It was really good. We're at the top of the hour, guys. I just want to thank Amar and David for joining us today. 2 hours went by like this, man. And really, guys, no matter what, right, flat or a globe, we all should be together. We shouldn't be divided because division is what they want, all right? We're still all human beings. Love, peace, and unity to everyone. Signing out.
The world has become tyrannical.
You want more of your people to die?
Deceptive. Dystopian. Fraudulent. Factual. Truthful. Direct knowledge. Has been taken away from the masses for the purposes of control. But enough is enough, dear friends. Now is the time to take what is rightfully ours. Welcome to the Syncretism Society Virtual Academy.
Welcome.
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 Welcome. Welcome.
Welcome. Welcome to the Syncretism Society
Virtual
Academy.
Within the Academy, we have great minds to collectively bring our alumni a staggering range of knowledge.
based off decade after decade of quantifiable research.
Spanning from sound medicine,
yoga science, Indian spirituality,
medical astrology,
Wisdom to sovereignty,
holistic health,
esoteric sciences, astrotheology.
Acquiring these truths, dear friends,
will drive your empowerment and ability
for proper ascension.
take back your sovereignty,
Take back your knowledge.
Take back your freedom. Join us at the Syncretism Society Virtual Academy.